The skies of Calther burned red. Captain Elias Kane ducked as another plasma blast shook the metal platform under his boots. Smoke curled up from the ruins of the Caltharian trade hub behind him, its once beautiful towers now broken like snapped bones. The peaceful alliance with the alien planet had ended in a heartbeat. No one saw the betrayal coming. Only hours ago, Elias was part of a diplomatic team sent by Earth to finalize a peace deal. They were welcomed with cheers, given gold-trimmed cloaks and shining ceremonial blades. The old alien ambassador Grawl had even raised a toast with his own thick, moss-colored hand. "If your kind can help us drive away the Ratari raiders," Grawl had laughed, slapping Elias on the back, "I'll even give you my daughter's hand in marriage." Everyone had laughed. Even Grawl's daughter Illyra had smirked, her eyes glowing faint blue under the torchlight. Elias remembered her amused voice, laced with sarcasm. "Careful, human, he jokes often. But sometimes he keeps his promises." Now the joke was buried under smoke and ash. Grawl City had been attacked before the deal was sealed. Massive black armored ships had descended from the clouds, bombing everything in sight. They were the Ratari merciless scavengers who conquered and enslaved. No warnings, no mercy. And no one fought back. Except the humans. Elias and his small Earth team, equipped only with light armor and rifles, had defended the city's heart while the Caltharians scattered. His people, trained to fight in hell, held their ground like wolves in fire. Now Elias ran toward the East Tower, where a distress signal still blinked. He wasn't just fighting anymore. He was searching for Illyra. Dead Caltharian guards slumped beside the doorway, black blood pooling at her feet. Elias stepped over her body, rifle raised, eyes scanning. The tower's insides were choked with smoke, but the emergency lights blinked weakly. Guiding his steps up the spiral staircase. As he reached the third floor, he heard a voice. "Help! Please!" His heart pounded. Not because of fear, but because he recognized that voice. "Illyra?" Elias called out. No answer, only a soft gasp. He moved quickly, pushing through a broken doorway. Inside the dark room, crouched in the corner, was the ambassador's daughter. Her ceremonial robes were torn, and her arm was bleeding. But her eyes, those glowing blue eyes, locked onto his, wide with surprise and relief. "You came back," she whispered. "I made a promise," Elias said, kneeling beside her. She winced as he checked her wound. "It was just a joke, human. He didn't mean it." Elias smiled tightly. Didn't sound like a joke when he said it twice. Then the building shook again. Dust rained from the ceiling. Somewhere above them, a Ratari dropship landed with a metal screech. "We have to move," Elias said. Illyra grabbed his arm. "No, wait. I overheard them. They're looking for you." He blinked. "Me?" She nodded. "They know a human was leading the defense. They want you captured, alive." The moment was interrupted by the sound of heavy boots outside the door. Ratari soldiers. Elias turned off the safety on his rifle. "We're trapped." Illyra stood, using the wall for support. "No, there's another way. Through the old tunnels under the palace." "You sure?" Elias asked. She nodded. "I used to sneak out of ceremonies through them." Elias helped her toward a panel on the far wall, which she pressed with her bloodied hand. A soft hum, and the metal door slid open, revealing a dusty tunnel. Just then, the main door behind them exploded inward. Ratari soldiers roared, charging through the smoke. Elias fired. 3 went down. He pushed Illyra through the tunnel first, ducked inside, and slammed the hidden door shut. Breathing hard in the narrow passage, Illyra whispered, "You're different, Elias. Other humans came here to trade, to take. But you stayed to fight." He didn't reply right away. Then he said, "You're different too. You didn't run." A faint smile touched her lips. But neither of them knew. This war had only begun, and Gral's joke was about to become a prophecy. The air inside the tunnel was cold and damp. Old stone walls stretched endlessly in front of Elias, lit only by the flickering light from his wrist lamp. Behind him, Alira limped along, holding her injured arm. They had escaped the burning palace just in time. The Ratari soldiers were still searching above, unaware of the hidden path under their feet. "How long is this tunnel?" Elias asked in a low voice. Alira breathed hard. "It goes far. There are several exits, but most are sealed. Only one leads to the forest beyond the city wall." Elias frowned. "Let's hope it's still open." The silence between them grew as they moved deeper underground. Water dripped from the ceiling. Strange sounds echoed around them, scraping, clicking. Soft whispers carried through the stone. Alira noticed his tense posture. "You think something's down here?" "I always think something's down here," Elias said, eyes scanning the shadows. "That's how you stay alive." They reached a fork in the path. Left was darker, with broken support beams. Right had the faint smell of fresh air. Alira pointed right. "This way." "I remember the breeze." Elias nodded but paused. "Wait." He dropped to one knee, touching the dirt floor. His fingers came up wet, fresh tracks. "Someone else came through here recently." "Ratari," Alira whispered. "Maybe. Or someone running from them." He raised his weapon, took the lead, and moved quietly ahead. Each step was careful, controlled. They reached a large underground chamber, part of an old storage room. Wooden crates and broken furniture were stacked in corners. In the center, a small fire still smoldered. Crouched behind a crate, motioning Alira to stay low. He peeked out and saw something unexpected. A young alien boy no older than 10 curled up beside the fire, holding a small blade. His skin was pale blue, his eyes wide and scared. "He's Caltharian," Alira whispered. "A noble child." Elias stepped out slowly, hands up. "Hey, it's okay. We're not going to hurt you." The boy stood, pointing the blade toward them, his tiny hands shaking. Alira stepped forward. "He's not your enemy. He helped defend us." The boy hesitated. Then his knees buckled, and he collapsed. Elias rushed forward, checking his pulse. "He's alive, just weak." He lifted the child gently. "We'll carry him out," Alira blinked. "You'd risk slowing down for a stranger?" Elias looked at her. "I don't leave kids behind." As they moved again, the tunnel narrowed. The weight of the boy slowed Elias down, but he didn't complain. Alira took the lead this time, using a faint breeze to guide them. The deeper they went, the more the walls began to shake. A low rumble echoed behind them. "Something's coming," Elias said. They picked up the pace. The sound grew louder, metal on stone, heavy breathing, thudding steps. From the darkness behind them, a Ratari beast burst into view, 10 feet tall, armored. In bone, eyes glowing red. "Run!" Elias shouted. They dashed down the tunnel, Alira screaming directions. The beast gained on them, howling as it smashed through the narrow walls. A few feet ahead, a collapsed section blocked the path. No way through. Alira shouted. Elias turned sharply, spotted an old ladder leading up. "There!" he shouted. He handed her the child. "Climb now." She didn't argue. Alira climbed first, dragging the boy over her shoulder. Elias fired at the beast, slowing it just long enough. As she reached the top, Elias followed, barely dodging a swing of the beast's claw that ripped stone from the wall. He slammed the hatch shut above. Them. Boom, boom. The beast pounded below, but it couldn't get through. They stood in a small stone room under the forest floor. Vines had broken through the ceiling. A rusty door led outside. Elias opened it slowly. Sunlight spilled in. They had made it out. They stepped into the forest, tall trees, singing birds and peace. For now, Alira gently laid the boy under a tree. We'll need to find shelter for him. Elias nodded. We'll also need supplies, weapons, and a way to send a message. To who? To Earth. She looked at him. You still want to help us? Elias sat down beside the boy. You? Think I came all this way for a joke? Alira smiled, a real one this time. My father. He'll be shocked if you survive this. I plan to, Elias said. And when I do, I'll collect on that joke. Alira rolled her eyes, laughing softly. But far above, in the orbiting warships, the Ratari leader received new orders. Find the human, dead or alive. Asterisk, the forest was quiet, too quiet. Captain Elias Kane moved through the thick trees, pulse rifle in hand, eyes alert. Beside him, Alira walked silently, guiding the way through the ancient woods. A few steps behind, the young alien boy rode on a makeshift sling over Elias's back, still unconscious from exhaustion. Sunlight filtered through ash-covered leaves. The birds had stopped singing. I don't like this, Elias said in a low voice. Alira glanced around. It feels wrong. Like the forest is watching us. He nodded. Or something hiding inside it. They had only been walking for 10 minutes since escaping the tunnels, but Elias's instincts screamed danger. Back on Earth, he had felt this same chill before walking into ambushes. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was a warning. Suddenly, Alira raised a hand and stopped. Elias crouched beside her. What is it? She pointed at the ground, bare footprints. Not animal. Not Ratari. Something else. They're Caltharian, she whispered. But these shouldn't be here. Number. One comes this far into the dead forest. Elias narrowed his eyes. Unless they're hiding something. They followed the tracks for a while, careful not to make noise. The forest grew darker, the trees denser, until the path opened into a clearing. In the center stood what looked like an old, abandoned stone temple, overgrown and cracked with age. Alira blinked. That's impossible. What is? This temple. It was destroyed over 100 years ago in the tribal wars. Nothing should be left. Elias studied the structure. Someone rebuilt it. Before they could step closer, movement flashed in the shadows. Elias spun, aiming. His rifle. Show yourself. From behind a tree stepped an old Caltharian warrior, dressed in faded armor and holding a spear carved from alien bone. His eyes were sharp, his body thin but still strong. You brought a child here, the elder said, voice deep. That means you are not our enemy. Alira lowered her hands. We didn't know anyone still lived here. The elder nodded. Few do. We are the forgotten ones, the ones left behind when the cities rose, when honor was lost. But we watch. We always watch. Elias stepped forward. We need shelter. The boy is weak. She's wounded. And you? The elder asked. I'm the human they're hunting. The old warrior studied him, then laughed dry and slow. So, you are the Earthblood Grawl once spoke of. The one he joked would earn his daughter. Alira blushed, crossing her arms. It was just a joke. The elder smiled. Perhaps? But many truths begin that way. He motioned to the temple. Come, you will be safe for now. Inside the temple, the air was cool and quiet. Moss covered the walls. Ancient murals of Caltharian heroes stared down from the stone. A few other old warriors watched silently from the shadows, guardians of a forgotten time. Elias placed the child on a mat while Alira was given a healing paste to rub on her wound. The elder sat with Elias beside a fire pit. You fight like a warrior, not like a diplomat. I was a soldier before I wore a suit, Elias replied. The old alien chuckled. Good, because soon you'll need to be one again. Elias leaned forward. Why? What's coming? The elder's face turned serious. The Ratari are not just invading. They are searching. For what? The elder looked at Alira. For her. She froze. Me? He nodded. You are the bloodline of Graal. Your family once held a seed. A flame, a relic with power the Ratari want. Alira whispered. I thought it was just legend. It's real, the elder said, and they think you know where it is. Elias looked between them. Do you? Alira hesitated, then slowly nodded. My father told me once of Calthar. Ever burned, I was to find the flame and keep it from falling into the wrong hands. Elias stood up. Then we find it before they do. Outside, the wind shifted. Far above, in orbit, a Ratari commander received a report. The human was last seen heading into the dead forest. The commander grinned. Then burn it down. All of it. Back in the temple, Alira and Elias studied. An ancient map carved into stone. The elder traced a line with his finger. This is the path. Through the roots of the sleeping tree, beneath the hollow canyon, and into the ruins of the first vault. It sounds like a trap, Elias sighed. It is, the elder replied. But the flame lies at its heart. Alira stepped forward. Then let's go. I won't run anymore. Elias gave her a nod. We'll go together. The elder stood, his eyes glowing faintly in the firelight. Then may the old gods watch over you. Outside, dark clouds gathered. Forest was about to burn. The jungle behind them was burning. Black. Smoke rose into the sky as trees cracked and fell in flames. The Ratari had set the forest ablaze from above, trying to flush out the human and the ambassador's daughter. But Elias Kane didn't run. He moved fast, rifle strapped to his back, cutting through thick vines with a plasma blade. Beside him, Alira's robe was torn, her arm still wrapped from the last fight. Behind them, the young alien boy, now awake and weak, clung tightly to her hand as they pushed deeper into the wild. Keep moving. Elias shouted. We're almost there. They were following the path shown by the elder from the forgotten temple. The trail was old, overgrown, and half lost, but it led to the one place the Ratari feared, the Vault of the Flame. According to legend, it was where the first flame was hidden, an ancient power buried by Alira's bloodline. A weapon, or something more. Alira's voice was low, urgent. This part of the forest was called the Breathless Hollow. Few ever returned from it. Why? Elias asked. She looked ahead, eyes worried. Because the trees listen. And they hate liars. Hours passed. The air changed. The wind stopped. The trees stopped moving. Even the fire behind them seemed afraid to touch this part of the jungle. Elias stepped forward slowly. His boots crunched dried leaves that didn't make a sound. I don't like this, he whispered. Suddenly, the boy froze, pointing at a tree. Trunk. On the bark were faces carved, or maybe grown alien faces with twisted eyes and open mouths. They're watching us, the boy said softly. Alira took his hand again. Stay close. Then the ground shifted beneath them. Elias reached out too late. The floor collapsed, and they all fell. They landed in a massive underground chamber, dimly lit by glowing red crystals buried in the walls. The air smelled like fire and stone. Elias groaned, checking the others. You two okay? I'm fine, Alira said, helping the boy to his feet. The chamber stretched wide like a natural cave. But carved into the walls were marking symbols of Alira's royal family. This is it, she whispered. This is the vault. In the center of the chamber stood a tall stone pedestal. Upon it sat a flame, not burning wood or gas butt, floating, alive, like a small sun trapped in a glass orb. The flame. They stepped closer, but suddenly, halt. 3 Ratari soldiers dropped from a hidden vent above. Their weapons raised. Elias didn't hesitate. He pulled his rifle and fired. 1 soldier went down. The second shot grazed Alira's shoulder. She screamed but didn't fall. Elias rolled, grabbed a rock, and smashed it into the 3rd soldier's knee. The fight was quick and bloody. Elias stood over the fallen bodies, breathing hard. "They were already here," Alira said. "They must have followed us through a different path." Elias turned to the orb. "What exactly does the flame do?" Alira stepped forward. Her hand hovered just above the orb. "It responds to the bloodline. My father told me. It gives strength. It awakens what's hidden inside." She looked at Elias. "But it only listens to those who protect, not those who conquer." He raised an eyebrow. "You sure it'll help us?" She smiled faintly. "We'll find out." Then she placed her hand on the orb. The vault lit up. Red light poured into the walls, the floor, even into Alira herself. Her eyes glowed bright blue, brighter than ever before. Her body floated slightly above the ground as the flame responded. To her touch, symbols appeared on the walls, moving like they were alive. The boy watched in awe. Elias stepped back, shielding his eyes. Then it stopped. The light faded. Alira dropped gently back to the ground. "What happened?" Elias asked. She opened her eyes, still glowing faintly. "I know where we have to go." "Next? Where?" "To the Heart Spire," she said. "It's the highest peak of Calther. The flame must be returned there to awaken the shield. If we can reach it, we can protect the capital city." Elias nodded. "Then let's move." But as they turned toward the exit passage, a massive boom shook the chamber. From above, a voice echoed cruel and cold. "You touched the flame, little girl. Now it belongs to us." The Ratari commander stepped into view, towering, armored, and grinning. Behind him, dozens of Ratari soldiers dropped down, weapons ready. Elias raised his rifle. "Alira, get the boy out of here." She hesitated. "But go!" he barked. Alira grabbed the boy and ran toward the back tunnel. Elias stood alone. The commander chuckled. "A human? Against all of us?" Elias smirked. "I'm not just human." He charged, roaring. The underground vault shook with the force of the fight. Captain Elias Kane moved like a storm, dodging between blasts, firing precise shots and striking hard. The Ratari soldiers were bigger, stronger, but not faster. Not smarter. And definitely not more stubborn. Blood red and black stained the stone floor. He ducked under a swinging blade, slid across the smooth ground, and shot 2 Ratari in the knees before leaping to cover. The commander snarled from above, barking orders, his voice filled with rage. "Why won't you fall, human?" Elias wiped blood from his lip. "Because I have something worth protecting." Then he charged again. Meanwhile, Alira and the young boy ran through the narrow escape tunnel behind the vault. The ground trembled under their feet, dust falling from the low ceiling. Glowing roots twisted along the walls like veins, reacting to the power she now carried from the flame. The boy struggled to keep up. Is he going to be okay? Alira didn't stop. He will be. But inside, her heart twisted. She didn't know if Elias could survive that many enemies. He was brave, yes, but no one was invincible. Suddenly, the path opened into a hidden glade, a quiet, peaceful place surrounded by stone statues of ancient warriors. It was the resting field of the Guardians only. Royalty knew of it. Alira placed the boy behind one of the large statues and knelt down, trying to focus. The flame had spoken to her, not in words, but in visions. It showed her the Heart Spire and the ancient shield that once protected Calther. But the path there was dangerous, and she couldn't do it alone. She looked up at the sky, barely visible through the cracks in the stone ceiling. "Please, stay alive, Elias." Back in the vault, Elias wasn't doing well. His armor was scorched. His breathing was ragged. One leg was bruised badly. But his hands didn't shake, and his eyes didn't flinch. 4 Ratari surrounded him now. The commander stepped closer. You're finished. Surrender and maybe we'll let the girl live. Elias grinned, teeth bloody. That was your mistake. You made this personal. With a sudden scream, he triggered the last grenade on his belt and threw it into the air. It exploded midair, blinding the Ratari with a flash. Elias tackled one soldier, stole his blade, and turned it against the others. He fought like a wild animal, desperate, furious, and something strange happened. The flame's energy traces still, lingering in the vault, reacted to his willpower. Red crystals in the walls pulsed again. Just for a moment, the commander noticed it too. What are you? He whispered. Elias drove the blade into the last soldier's chest, breathing heavy. I'm the reason you're going to lose. Then he collapsed. Time passed. Maybe minutes, maybe hours. Elias opened his eyes slowly. The chamber was empty now. Smoke curled through the air. He coughed, rolled over, and winced in pain. Every part of him hurt, but he was alive, just barely. He crawled toward the escape tunnel. Pulling himself forward with sheer will. At the exit, he heard a voice. About time. Illyra stood there, arms crossed, the boy at her side. She rushed to help him as he collapsed again. You look terrible, she said gently. He grinned weakly. You should see the other guys. She helped him up, supporting his weight. You survived? I knew you would. He looked into her glowing blue eyes. You left me a few. She smiled, eyes wet. Then Elias noticed something. Her skin shimmered faintly, like she carried light inside her now. You've changed, he said. Illyra nodded. The flame. It gave me part of its power. It's connected to our bloodline. But also, she touched his chest lightly. It responded to you too. Elias raised an eyebrow. I'm not even Calfarian. No, she whispered. But your heart, it burns the same. They moved again, slowly but steadily. Their next destination. The heart spired. As they walked through the high mountain trail. The wind howled, and snow began to fall. The land changed from jungle to rocky cliffs. The temperature dropped. Ahead, in the distance, the giant spire of stone and crystal pierced the clouds. Illyra looked toward it with awe. That's where the shield waits. Elias gripped his rifle. And that's where we'll make our last stand. But the enemy was not done yet. High above, in a floating Ratari warship, the commander, burned but alive, watched them through a scope. Prepare all troops, he snarled. Send everything. He looked at a device in his hand, a strange scanner showing Elias's image. This human is more dangerous than we thought. Asterisk, the wind howled around them like a living thing. Captain Elias Kane leaned into the sharp gusts, boots crunching on snow and cracked stone. The heart spire rose in front of him like a mountain carved from crystal, jagged and glowing softly in the cold sun. Illyra followed close behind, the boy wrapped in a warm cloak and tied safely to her back. Her face was pale, but her steps were steady. Each time her feet slipped, the flame inside her pulsed faintly, keeping her going. They had been climbing for hours now. No more forests, no more ruins. Only silence, cold, and the weight of what they carried. The flame must be returned to the peak, Illyra said quietly. Only then can the shield awaken. Elias looked up the mountain. How do we know the shield still works? We don't, she said. But if it does, it'll protect what's left of my people. And if it doesn't? She met his eyes. Then we fight until we can't. He gave a tired smile. Sounds like something I'd say. Halfway up the climb, they found a flat ledge with broken statues and frozen stone steps. Elias sat down, catching his breath. His injuries from the vault fight were catching up to him. His side ached. and his leg burned with every step. Illyra sat beside him. "You don't have to do this," she said. He looked at her. "You say that now? I'm serious. You've already saved me, twice. You've protected the boy. You fought their commander and survived. And left a few teeth behind," Elias muttered. "You've done more than anyone could ask." Elias stared at the ice-covered horizon. "Maybe, but I didn't come here to impress anyone. I came to help." He looked at her, his voice softer now. "You're not just some alien diplomat's daughter anymore, Illyra. You've become more." She blinked slowly, surprised by the warmth in his words. "You've changed too," she whispered. The flame noticed. "So did I." Their quiet moment was broken by a rumble above. A Ratari dropship soared overhead, black and massive, followed by two more. Soldiers began rappelling down the cliffs, metal boots slamming into the mountainside. "They're coming," Illyra shouted. Elias stood, gripping his rifle. "Then we climbed faster." They moved with everything they had left. The final stretch to the top was nearly vertical. Elias had to sling the boy across his back and climb using ropes left from older expeditions. Illyra went first, guiding the way, using the power of the flame to steady herself on the narrow ledges. Blaster fire cracked from above. The Ratari had already landed on the peak. "We're not alone," Elias shouted. "Keep climbing." She yelled back. At the summit, the Heartspire's peak stretched like a flat platform surrounded by tall, glowing crystal spires. In the center stood an ancient altar, cracked and waiting. And standing in front of it, the Ratari commander. His armor was cracked from their last battle. His face was burned. But he stood tall, sword drawn, eyes full of hate. "I warned you," he growled. "You should have died when I had the chance." Illyra stepped forward, holding the orb of the flame. "This ends now." The commander raised his sword. "No, girl, it begins now." Ratari soldiers circled them. Elias handed the boy to Illyra. "Go to the altar." "I'll handle him." Illyra hesitated. "You can't fight him alone again." "I won't have to," he said. "Not this time." He turned to face the commander. The final fight began with a roar. Elias charged, dodging a heavy slash. He swung his rifle like a club, smashing the commander's side. The Ratari struck back, driving Elias to the edge of the peak. They clashed. Again, blade against metal, strength against will. At the altar, Illyra placed the orb into the carved center of the stone. The altar lit up. Light spread through the spires, red, blue, and gold. But then nothing. The shield didn't activate. The boy gasped. "Why isn't it working?" Illyra stared at the glowing orb. "It needs more. The flame needs a bond." Promise." She looked back at Elias, bleeding, limping, still fighting. She closed her eyes. "I give it everything." Then she placed her hand on the orb. It pulsed. Then exploded with light. Power surged through the crystals. The mountain glowed. A wave of energy shot into the sky, then spread across the horizon, forming a barrier of light over the capital far in the distance. The flame had awakened. The shield was active. Below, Ratari ships crashed into it and exploded. The invasion was halted. The commander saw the light and screamed in rage. He grabbed Elias and lifted him over the edge, preparing to throw him off. But Elias pulled the pin on his last charge grenade. He grinned. "Joke's on you." Boom. The mountain shook. When the smoke cleared, the commander was gone. Elias lay at the edge, barely breathing. Illyra rushed to him, falling to her knees. "You did it," she whispered. He opened one eye. "No, you did it." She smiled, tears falling. "You saved us." He coughed, then chuckled weakly. "Think your father's joke still stands?" She laughed softly. "I think it might have been prophecy." 3 days passed since the flame awakened. The Ratari invasion had collapsed. Their ships smashed against the ancient shield that now protected the capital of Calther. With their commander gone, their forces scattered like dust in a storm. Now, peace was returning slowly, carefully, but Elias Kane still lay in the healing chamber, surrounded by glowing orbs and whispering alien physicians. His body was broken ribs, cracked, shoulder dislocated, internal bruising, but he had survived. Again, Illyra sat beside his bed, holding his hand, never leaving. You were the only one crazy enough to fight a Ratari warlord twice, she whispered with a faint smile. Elias stirred. His voice came out hoarse. 3 times, actually. First one was on the bridge, remember? She blinked, then laughed a soft musical sound. You're awake. Can't die yet, he muttered. I still haven't seen your father's face. Later that evening, a golden ship landed in the city courtyard. Royal guards in silver armor stood tall, and from the ship stepped Ambassador Grawl, alive, older-looking but still proud. He had survived the first attack, hiding deep beneath the capital. He was led into the recovery chamber, where he found his daughter standing protectively beside a human soldier, bruised, bandaged, but smiling. Grawl froze. Illyra turned. Father. She walked over and hugged him tightly. He held her for a long time, his voice low with emotion. I thought I lost you. I had help, she whispered, stepping back and looking at Elias. Grawl followed her gaze and raised an eyebrow. Elias gave a small nod from the bed. Sir, you may not remember, but you once made a joke. Something about giving your daughter to the one who saved your city. Grawl's eyes widened slightly. He scratched his chin. Ah, yes, I do recall saying something like that. Illyra folded her arms, pretending to be annoyed. You said it twice, father. The ambassador looked between the two, his daughter, glowing faintly with the flame's light, and a human soldier who had bled for her people. He sighed deeply. Of all the jokes I've ever made, this one may cost me the most. Then he smiled, but perhaps it was fate. Weeks passed. Elias stayed in Calther, recovering. But he wasn't just a guest anymore. He was called Guardian of the Flame by the Caltharian people. Songs were written about the battle at the Heartspire. Statues were planned. Children wanted to see the human warrior who wouldn't fall. But for Elias, the only thing that mattered was Illyra. They trained together, walked the gardens, and shared quiet moments in the old towers. She teased him. He challenged her. They laughed more than they fought. One night, under the glowing moon of Calther, Illyra took his hand. You're not just a warrior, Elias. You're part of this world now. He looked at her. And you're not just a princess. You're something much stronger. Their fingers laced together. Neither one spoke the words, but the flame inside them glowed gently, pulsing as if it understood. Months later, a ceremony was held. Not for war, not for peace, but for unity. Cult HARIN nobles gathered. Elders stood in honor. Even the flame was brought forth again, resting inside a glass sphere beside the altar, and at the center, Elias stood tall in ceremonial armor. Beside him stood Illyra, dressed in silver and blue, her eyes glowing softly. Ambassador Grawl stepped forward. In the old days, we honored those who defended us not only with gifts but with bonds. Stronger than gold, stronger than treaties. He looked at Elias. This human, once a stranger, now stands as family. He looked at Illyra. This daughter, once a flame-bearer, now shares that fire with another. Grawl raised his hand. Do you, Elias Kane, accept your place beside my daughter? Elias smiled. Without a doubt. Do you, Illyra, accept this human warrior not just as protector but as equal? She stepped forward, voice clear. I already have. The flame pulsed once brighter than before. The room filled with warmth. The crowd erupted in cheers. Later that night, as stars stretched across the sky, Illyra and Elias stood alone on a balcony overlooking the city. She leaned against him, her head on his shoulder. He chuckled. "So, your father's face when it actually happened?" She smirked. "Priceless." He looked out at the stars. "You think the Ratari will try again?" "Maybe," she said. "But next time, we'll face them together." He nodded. "Deal." Then he pulled her close. "I never expected all this. Not the war. Not the flame. And definitely not you." Illyra smiled, glowing in the moonlight. "Sometimes the universe has its own jokes, Elias." He kissed her forehead. "Then I'm glad I was the punchline."